Here with Keith Gavin, head wrestling coach at Pitt. Coach, thanks for taking the time to weigh in with me. Wanted to just kind of go through the process of you taking the job and where you see the wrestling program going in the future. So it's been a few months. Can you tell me a little bit about the thought process that you went through to take the job?
Well, I mean, there wasn't really much thought. This was definitely a job that I've always thought about having, and something that I think, in the back of my mind was that this is always where I wanted to end up in my coaching career. So I probably didn't think that it was going to happen this soon, but they were making a change, and it was kind of like, I mean, my thought process was, this is maybe my only opportunity to get back to Pitt, and it's a program I have been obviously following closely and pretty passionate about. So I wanted to put my best foot forward and try to, get this job while the opportunity was here.
It was a pretty public opening, and it seemed there were a lot of rumors swirling. Were you paying attention to that, or were you just keeping your head down and working out at Oklahoma?
No, I mean, not really. I had a job to do at Oklahoma, and I was doing that, and it really didn't become a real possibility until I got the interview.
Yeah. Did you reach out, or did Pitt reach out to you?
Well, I applied.
You did apply.
Yeah, when the job opened, yeah.
I've heard different things. I guess sometimes I hear that you're invited to apply. Sometimes you apply on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's been a couple months now. Can you tell me a little bit about what you've been busiest with during this transition?
Well, I mean, it's when I got here, it was in the summer, so we had a lot of guys here training, but it was summertime training is a little looser structured. So the first thing was getting a staff together, and recruiting's been the busiest thing because we're behind, with the kids who are seniors this year. They've been getting called by other schools since September 1st of their junior year, so
Yeah.
we're playing catch up in that regard. So that's probably been the busiest thing.
Want to just step back a little bit with your own wrestling career. You haven't been a senior wrestler when did you stop? When was your last official match?
The Olympic trials in 2016.
2016. So it's a year and a half.
Yeah.
Less than that.
Yeah.
When you reflect on your own career, like when you were coming out of high school, you weren't a blue chip recruit, and you made it, to the world team. I mean, tell me a little bit about how you think about your career.
I think I was very fortunate to be around some of the people that I was around, and I was at each stage of my career, I was around some great people that helped, mold me and help me develop. And so I think that, obviously I developed, when I got to college and got a lot better there. And then internationally it was, there's some growing pains there too, mainly because of the weight class. I was 174 in college, and that's right in between 74 kilo and now 86 kilo. So, that took some figuring out, but I really enjoyed it. I love wrestling, and and I love competing. I would have done it forever if you could, but so it was an incredible experience, and I look back on it as just something I'm very grateful for.
I want to just go back and touch on something you said and see if we can flesh that out a little bit. You said you had to figure some stuff out in those transitions. Was it a mental approach? Was it technique, a combination? What were the biggest changes from your high school senior year to your sophomore year at Pitt?
Yeah. A little bit was just like I was just immature, physically when I got to college. So I think I needed to, catch up in that regard, I think. And yeah, technically of just finding, like, I think, self-awareness is a big deal in anybody's success. And so I had to figure out what, who I was going to be as a wrestler. You can't just do what everybody else does and expect to be successful,
Right.
So I think everybody that is successful has their own kind of niche, and I mean, everybody has a similar base, of there's certain things that, of course, everybody has to do well, like protect your legs, get off from bottom, things like that. But, I think that there's you have to find your way, like how are you going to win? And so that took some time, I think, to figure out. And then also, like I said, just physically, I started at 157 and I ended up 174. So, I grew and kind of grew up and matured physically.
What drove you? Some guys don't like the competitive. They like to know that they're favored or maybe not favored.
Yeah.
But to me, it seemed like you could thrive in that unknown a little more than the average wrestler. What?
Yeah, I think that what drove me was just I really love wrestling, and just the love for the sport is what drove me. It wasn't so much about the accolades, and I wasn't focused on the outcome. It was just like the day to day. Like I enjoyed being in practice, and I enjoyed figuring things out. Practice was very much like trial and error for me.
Right.
So and that was a lot of fun, and it still is. I still love wrestling. The biggest difference for me was I had to get used to all the other stuff, like the running and the lifting. I wasn't very much into exercising, but I loved wrestling. So it was more of like, doing that kind of stuff. I'd wrestle all day long, but
Do you tell your recruits that you weren't a big fan of working out, but you love to wrestle? No, that's probably not.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, I think obviously wrestling is you get incredible shape doing that, but you have to do that. Like I said, I went up 2 weight classes. So obviously you had to spend some time in the weight room, which I've grown to appreciate that and respect it more than I did probably when I was in college. And I had some when I was at the Ohio RTC. That was a big thing. Like I started to really be like, okay, this stuff matters, or before I was a little neglectful of
Got
that
it.
kind of stuff.
So talking about loving wrestling, and you could wrestle all day in practice, still love wrestling. How has that changed as a coach? What are the elements of it now that are different that you've fallen in love with?
My passion and love for wrestling hasn't changed at all, and I think that is something that is important as a coach. My main thing now is to share that with the student athletes on the team, and hopefully, I think that stuff is contagious, and I think that, and to remind them, everybody started wrestling because they enjoyed it, no one gets into it because you think you're going to be famous or rich or anything,
Yeah.
So I think that reminding them that now, even though there might be a little more pressure, you still do this because you enjoy it. I think that's a key rule to being a coach. But what has changed is just it's just a great feeling to see somebody overcome adversity or get through an obstacle and things like that, and competing is a pretty selfish pursuit, and coaching is very selfless. So that's probably the biggest difference.
Okay. You mentioned Coach Rastelli earlier at the Ohio Training Center and then at Oklahoma. Can you talk a little bit about your relationship with him?
Yeah. No, I've known Lou for a long time. When I wrestled at Pitt, he was coaching at Edinburgh, and they always had tough teams, and so I had a lot of respect for him then. And yeah, I did a lot of freestyle training, and I trained at the Ohio Regional Training Center, and he was the freestyle coach there.
Yeah.
He does a great job of just hammering home the details, and he helped show me kind of what you like, that other stuff that I was talking about. He's very we did a lot of treadmill sprints and stuff like that. That stuff that I wouldn't do that on my own.
Right.
So I think that, just having somebody make you do things that you don't want to do is important. And, I believe in his approach to the sport of, you value the work. And so, on that level, I think that we're pretty similar. So it was a good relationship. And working with him at Oklahoma, that whole staff at Oklahoma, they're great guys with him and Coach Leitner and Hunter Siebert. And, so that was a lot of fun, and I had every intention of being there for a very long time. I would even joke with my wife that we're going to be here, and unless the pit job opened up, and we never thought that would happen.
Yeah.
But,
so you're going to be Oklahomans.
Yeah, because we enjoyed it out there, but like I said earlier, this was an opportunity that I couldn't pass up.
Got it. Any other coaching mentors that you've can share with us, or?
Yeah, sure. Like I was saying, I've been very fortunate to be around some great people in the sport, and I think that, at each level that I was. I mean, I had a great elementary coach that instilled discipline, when I was at a very young age. That kind of stuck with me. I had a great club coach in high school that brought in high-level technicians all the time, and that kind of opened my eyes to what, you can do with wrestling. So that was, at each level, I had mentors and just great people who were passionate about the sport and shared it and inspired, their athletes with it. In college, Randy Stoudemire was my head coach, and he's just known as just a great guy. You can't find anybody to say a bad word about him. I spent a lot of time with Pat Santoro. When I went over to when I first got out of college, I trained at the Lehigh Valley Wrestling Club, but I've known Pat for a while. He wrestled at Pitt,
Yeah.
So even when we were in college, he'd come back. His wife is from around the Pittsburgh area.
Right.
But again, Pat is a guy that everybody has a lot of respect for, and he's the way he thinks about the sport is very similar, I think, to the way I do, and he has a passion and love for the sport, and so he's a great mentor, and we still talk quite often about bouncing ideas off him. So that's been great. And then, I went to Ohio State, and I had Lou, and Tom Ryan is just I learned a lot just seeing how he ran his program, and how he got his, try to get the best out of his athletes. How he grew that RTC. I was part of that when I first got there, and it was, me, Sean Bunch, Terrell Delagna, J.D. Bergman, and then Reese Humphrey and Angel Escobedo. And so, that thing really grew quickly.
Right. Definitely.
So yeah, I learned a ton from everybody, and I think that, it was, like I said, it was just very grateful and fortunate to be around those kind of people.
Got it. I know we're getting short on time here. You're in one of the biggest hotbeds of wrestling in the country, Western Pennsylvania. Concentration. You've had some transfers come in. I saw you had a recruit on Twitter, but I didn't get to actually look at it, commit to you. Are you feeling excitement and buzz? Because people have been waiting for Pitt to be back for, it seems like, quite a while. What's the buzz that you're feeling around Western Pennsylvania right now?
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of excitement. Obviously this is a great wrestling area, and so people want Pitt to succeed, and it's our job to kind of, I tell everybody that we're going to do our best and to see just how good we can be here. We're going to try to reach our full potential as a program, and the way you do that is getting creating an environment where our team is an environment where everybody is striving to reach their full potential, both on and off the mat. And I think that if we do that, we'll be very successful because we'll bring talent in.
Definitely. You have a timeline for yourself, like mentally? I'm assuming you have goals written down for yourself and over a period of time, other than the 100% buy-in, or not?
No,
No?
no, I don't. I just I'm just not. I don't look past today.
Okay.
We're just trying to get better each day, and that's the main thing is just focusing on improvement. I don't want to get caught looking ahead, and I think that's you tend to go through emotions and skip some steps if you do that. So I think that just focusing on the day-to-day stuff and daily improvement, and then we're not even looking towards March this year. We're looking towards we have technique at 3:00 today, so we're going to get better at 3:00 today.
Nice. Last question. You're a wrestling czar for a day. Any rules you would change at the NCAA level? Just one rule to make the sport more interesting or better?
Yeah, I'd make it freestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that the current freestyle rules are very good. I think that it's a lot more fast-paced, exciting. There's just a whole lot of stalemates right now in collegiate wrestling, and I think that they're playing with it with that new rule in college where you can't, the danger zone neutral rule where you can't be on your back for a while when you're scrambling. I think they're trying that, but it's still subjective.
Right.
That's going to have some growing pains in that rule. But it's well intentioned. I think the average fan looking at what it was last year. You know, in the past, they'd be very confused. I think everybody knows that wrestling, you're supposed to stay off your back, but we have, you know, you watch a folk style match and guys are on their back and not giving up points. It doesn't make much sense. So yeah, I like the freestyle rules the way they are. You know, the 30-second shot clock is a little iffy, but other than that.
Okay. I lied. One more question. If you were to describe your style as a head coach, are you the CEO or are you just involved in everything? How do you describe what you're doing right now?
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't really describe myself as a CEO, but you do have to be involved in everything. It's just the way it is, right? We just don't have a ton of people on staff. You know,
Yeah.
we're allowed to have 4.
Yeah.
And then, so it's not like we can have a ton of people that handle everything. So you do have to have a hand in everything, you know, and that's it's just time consuming, but it's something that you have to do. But I don't know how I would describe my style as a coach. I think that, you know, I'm just persistent, you know, and that's what I expect from my guys is to be persistent. You know, I think that, you know, we always talk about success, and success is just knowing you consistently gave your full effort.
Coach, I appreciate the time. Good luck this
Yeah,
season.
thank
Hopefully
you.
I'll catch up with you and
Thank you.
talk to you soon.
All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.